Welcome back to Football Daily. With the new Premier League season kicking off this weekend, we've constructed a team of players you should be keeping an eye on this campaign. Let's go. Goalkeeper, Dean Henderson. Okay, so Dean Henderson is far from an unknown entity. He made our team of the season in 2019-20 after all. But with the English goalkeeper back at Man United and determined to take the number 1 spot, this could be a make or break season for his career at Old Trafford. The 23-year-old, who returned to Manchester following an excellent 2-year spell at Sheffield United, has long expressed his determination to oust David De Gea as United's number 1. And judging by his performances last term, it could be a blockbuster battle between him and the Spaniard. Henderson's save ratio of 75% was marginally better than De Gea's, while he also kept a slightly higher proportion of clean sheets. But crucially, due to his heroics between the sticks, Sheffield United conceded 13 goals fewer than what was estimated by XG, posting the largest positive expected goals differential in the division. Young, confident and stylistically similar to De Gea, Henderson is the perfect long-term replacement for United's most well-paid player. Even if he can't usurp him for good this season, witnessing his efforts to make a mark at the Theatre of Dreams will be fascinating. Defender, Tariq Lamptey. There are a number of right-backs to keep your eye on this season, namely Matt Doherty, who will be looking to impress in his first season at Spurs, and Reece James, who will hopefully receive more minutes during his second season in the Chelsea first team. But it's James's former teammate at youth level we're looking at today. Tariq Lamptey has quickly made a name for himself since completing his switch from Chelsea to Brighton in January 2020. He was one of the best players on the pitch in his first appearance against Leicester, and 3 games later got his first Premier League assist against champions Liverpool, showcasing all the qualities needed to become a top fullback in the English top flight. A pacey dribbler with quick feet, the former Blue is capable of playing at right back or right wing back, and ranks joint second in the Brighton squad for take-ons per 90 with 2.3. His defensive output is decent if unspectacular, winning the ball back 3.5 times a match and recording just a 50% tackle success rate, while he is also creating less than a chance a game. But he is still only 19 as this goes out, and we'd expect his numbers to improve in his first full season in a side on the up under Graham Potter. Watch this space. Defender, Michael Hector. Another former Chelsea player, Michael Hector was signed by the Blues back in 2015, but has never made a Premier League appearance until now, spending the last 4 years on loan at Eintracht Frankfurt, Hull and Sheffield Wednesday, before completing a permanent switch to Fulham in 2019. But it's not like this was anything new for the London-born defender. However, it appears Hector has finally found his home at Craven Cottage. Nicknamed Virgil van Mike, the 28-year-old was integral to Fulham's promotion from the Championship, completing the full 90 minutes in all the 23 games for which he was available, and putting in standout displays against Cardiff and Brentford in the playoffs. And his effect on the Cottagers' defence has been notable. They recorded clean sheets in almost half of the games Hector played, having kept the opposition out in less than a quarter of their matches before he made his debut. Fulham produced one of the worst defensive performances the Premier League has ever seen in 2018-19, so we'll need Hector to continue his excellent form for their return this year. If they can beat the drop, he will no doubt have had a big part to play. Before we move on to our next player to watch, just a quick reminder to subscribe to Football Daily if you haven't done so already, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Defender, Mohamed Salisu. Of just 2 summer signings for Southampton at the time of writing, Mohamed Salisu arrived at St Mary's from Real Valladolid for just under £11 million. Having joined the Spanish club's youth setup back in 2017, the Ghanaian centre-back got a surprise call-up for the first team at the start of last season and hasn't looked back. Salisu quickly became ever-present, racking up the 3rd most minutes in the squad, and when injury curtailed his season with 2 weeks remaining, the Albi Violetas lost 3 of their final 4 games. Standing at 6'3" and dubbed the Wall of Valladolid by the Spanish press, Salisu is a formidable one-on-one defender, and he's mature for his age too, winning 78% of his tackles and giving away just 0.7 fouls a game, helping the side concede less than Real Sociedad and Villarreal. The 21-year-old has also been praised for his passing, and with Southampton in need of a left-footed centre-half, is a perfect addition to Ralph Hasenhüttl's side. As the Saints aim for a top half finish off the back of an impressive end to the 2019-20 campaign, it will be interesting to see how one of Europe's most promising young defenders fits into a fast improving team. Defender Kieran Tierney. During an injury-plagued first season at Arsenal, Kieran Tierney's future at the Emirates was even called into question on a couple of occasions, with the Scottish left-back being linked with a reunion with former boss Brendan Rodgers at Leicester City. However, following the Premier League restart, Tierney became an integral part of Mikel Arteta's system. He played as part of a back three and at left wing-back in a 3-4-3 as the Spanish coach rejigged a back line hit by injury, and also excelled in his preferred fullback role, as the Gunners recorded memorable victories over Man City and Chelsea on their way to a 14th FA Cup before overcoming Liverpool in the Community Shield. As a result of playing multiple roles, Tierney's creative numbers had dropped off at Arsenal, but he already looks incredibly solid, winning 82% of his tackles and completing 79% of his attempted dribbles. And with the Gunners' back line set to improve with the return of William Saliba and arrival of Gabriel, Tierney's game will only benefit. Expect to see him shine this term. Midfielder Thomas Souček. Like Kieran Tierney, we didn't see an awful lot of Thomas Souček in the Premier League in 2019-20, with the Czech international joining West Ham on loan in January and making just 4 appearances before the league was suspended in March. However, he was arguably the Hammers' best player after the restart, not missing a single minute as David Moyes' side lost just one of their final 7 games to escape relegation by 5 points. Souček scored 3 times on that run, helping West Ham to vital wins over Chelsea and Watford, and was also excellent defensively, making 4.4 tackles and interceptions a match and forming a tight bond with Declan Rice in the middle of the park. Impressive considering the 25-year-old hadn't played outside his home country until 2020. Souček's performances earned him a permanent move to the London Stadium to the tune of nearly £20 million, and with the London club yet to strengthen in other areas, he will be just as vital to their fortunes in the new campaign. Midfielder Phil Foden. We have featured Phil Foden on videos like this in the past, but considering how stacked Man City's midfield has been in the last 2 seasons, his inclusion as one to watch has always felt slightly premature, until now. Long tipped by Pep Guardiola to become a regular starter at the Etihad, David Silva's departure this summer means Foden now has a clearer run at the first team. Despite being handed more minutes in 2018-19, much of his game time came off the bench, and he's still ranked 19th in the squad for minutes played, below John Stones and Alexander Zinchenko. However, he was handed 6 starts in the latter stages of the campaign and repaid Guardiola's faith with 5 goals, plus a man of the match display against Liverpool. Having turned 20 this year and with a decent amount of top-level experience under his belt, Foden should flourish in the new campaign, whether playing as a second number 10 alongside Kevin De Bruyne or as a wide option. Comparisons to the departing Silva are unfair, but the young Englishman is more than capable of making a decisive contribution in the citizens' quest to take back the title. Midfielder Matias Pereira. Finishing off our incredibly attack-minded midfield is West Brom's Matias Pereira. Initially signed on loan from Sporting Club de Portugal in 2019, his magisterial performances last season meant that his permanent switch this summer, worth just £8.2 million, has already proved an absolute steal for the Baggies. In 2019-20, the Brazilian attacking midfielder, who can also play on either flank, scored 8 goals and led the Championship assist chart with 16, marking himself out as the creative hub in a side with no outstanding goal scorers. And his in-game numbers were equally impressive, making over 3 key passes, taking 3 shots and completing nearly 2 dribbles per 90. A super skillful operator with vision to match his flair, Pereira was easily one of the best players to watch in the English second tier last term, and his experience on loan at Nuremberg in the Bundesliga should mean the step up to the top flight isn't too much for the Brazilian. If he can translate his championship form to the Prem, he could become a Dimitri Payet-like figure for Slaven Bilic at the Hawthorns. Forward, Abasi Eze. Another player who lit up the Championship last term, Abasi Eze's superb displays for QPR earned him a switch across London to Crystal Palace, who paid £16 million for the young forward. A talismanic player for the R's in 2019-20, Eze started all 46 league fixtures and clocked up over 4,000 minutes, ranking 6th among outfield players in the division in this regard. Furthermore, he led the QPR squad for goals, assists, shots and take-ons, driving the team forward week in, week out with his masterful dribbling ability and eye for goal. These are quality Palace are in desperate need of. They have been over-reliant on Wilfried Zaha for a number of years now, and Eze, who can play through the middle as well as on the left, will provide Roy Hodgson's side with another danger man on the break. He's also just 22, giving the Palace squad a much-needed injection of youth, and while he'll be afforded less time on the ball than he was in the Champ, still looks more than capable of making his mark on the top flight. And with the Eagles posting the second worst goal tally in the entire division last season, he's got his work cut out for him too. Forward, Rodrigo. Having completed his £26 million move to Leeds, Rodrigo Moreno has returned to the Premier League 10 years after an ill-fated loan spell with Bolton Wanderers. Now 29, Rodrigo comes back to England a well-experienced forward, and while his signing has hardly got fans out of their seats and is perhaps a little overpriced, he could prove a very useful player for the Peacocks on their long-awaited return to the top flight. Very much a second striker, Rodrigo has hit double figures for goals in a league campaign just once in his career, but despite scoring just 4 times for Valencia last term, led the squad for assists with 7, ranking second to Dani Parejo for chances created. He also took more shots a game than top scorer Maxi Gomez and trumped his strike partner on expected goals per 90, suggesting the Spanish international was a tad unlucky in front of goal. Put simply, Leeds have got an adept final third operator, whose years of playing regularly under a number of different managers at the Mestalla should aid him in adapting to Marcelo Bielsa's system at Elland Road. However, as Leeds' most expensive signing ever, he will need to hit the ground running. Forward, Christian Pulisic. Chelsea may have spent big on a number of attackers over the past few months, but this could be the season of Christian Pulisic. Unlike many others in this team, we know full well what the American is capable of, but after an injury-hit first campaign with the Blues, we're excited to see a fully fit Pulisic light up Stamford Bridge in 2020-21. What's more, with the departure of Willian and Pedro, the soon-to-be 22-year-old is already one of the club's more experienced forwards, and with Werner, Ziyech and Havertz now set to line up alongside him, his output could explode. If his late season form is anything to go by, when he was contributing to a goal every 110 minutes, a better rate than Raheem Sterling managed across the 1920 campaign, we're in for an absolute treat. An exciting but raw player when he arrived at Stamford Bridge in 2019, Pulisic has quickly become a focal point for Lampard's side, and his task of replacing Eden Hazard doesn't look quite as impossible as it once did. Chelsea's attack could be truly frightening this term, and the former Dortmund man may well fulfil the world-class potential he has shown since his mid-teens. So those were our players to watch in the Premier League this season, but do you have any other shouts? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave it a like and click on screen right now for more great Football Daily content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.